Hi, writing blockheads. I am in the car while my kids are watching Octonauts. I think you all get it. So that I can make this first video to get us started with our strategic planning because I know that there is so much that we want to do and we're all so excited and so motivated, but we need a little bit of structure to it. So we're not just, trying to do everything at once and burning out. So the most important thing about this process, my car just went out. The most important thing about this process, speaking of not getting distracted, is to slow down and take each step one at a time. My husband just came out and gave me a really weird look because he's wondering why I'm talking to myself in the car. Anyway, we're gonna slow down and take each step one step at a time. And it's going to be really tempting to get ahead of ourselves and just start talking about all the things that we want to do. But I promise you, we will get to that, okay? We'll get to every step, and it's going to be a lot more effective if we just really focus on each small prompt at a time. It's I kind of went over the structure a little bit when we were talking about this before, but it's a very structured process, and it's very intentional, and each step is meant to build on the last. So we want to take it one step at a time. And this first step, all we're doing is talking about values. And so all we want to talk about for a while is what are our values. And values are not things that we want to do. They are like big picture ideas. Think like slogany, and like the kinds of things that people campaign on. So there's a really great book called Don't Think of an Elephant by George Lakoff, if you're interested in this and actually how it's really relevant to politics. They say that, this book, Lakoff says that conservatives are basically, sorry, I'm going to make this political for a minute. Conservatives are winning in our country because, and this was written, I think, in the 90s, so it's been for a while, that because they're campaigning on values while progressives are trying to actually explain issues to everybody. And, there was this change with that with Obama and Hope. He got it right, actually, and that's part of why he was so successful. So we need to figure out ways, politically, Lakoff says, to frame all of the arguments that we're about in terms of these little, slogany catchphrases that kind of try to capture it. And that's also what we need to do for the very beginning of this process, because it's going to guide us on the rest of this process and make sure that everything we do is focused, on brand, and in line with our values. So all I want us to do for this first little bit is throw out ideas about what our values are. And I'm going to be a little bit mean. If you guys start getting off topic, I'm going to cut you off and say, no, we'll talk about this later. Okay? So I would encourage you actually to do a little bit of brainstorming first. Just sit down with a piece of paper. I think pen and paper can actually be good for this because then you're just kind of letting it out. And just write down what comes to mind about the values that we think are important to Writing Block, and then come back and share them with the group.